This is the bad boy Joey Janela, and you're watching Dre 41.
All right, so we're on the PlayStation 2. Goodness. So for me, I'll go first with this one. Shut Your Mouth.
Yes, sir.
That's just my favorite. I'll just put it out there. This one gets kind of difficult, PlayStation. I want to say, Shut Your Mouth has to be on there. Hold on, let me look. PlayStation 2. SmackDown versus Raw 2008. That's when they first implemented ECW.
Wow.
SmackDown versus Raw 2008. And we're going to jump to Japan. Wrestle Kingdom series. I can't choose between both of them. So Wrestle Kingdom 1 and 2. I have to put those two together. Mainly because the gameplays are different. It looks great. It has a different roster. I'll say that all the time. And Wrestle Kingdom 1 is difficult to beat the game. Very difficult. Wrestle Kingdom 2 is easier. It's easier in a way, but it brings it to you. So yeah, both of those. I like both of those. Who's next for the PlayStation 2?
Well, my all-time favorite for that one's gonna be Here Comes the Pain. I just remember I spent countless hours playing that with my nephew, who's more like my age. He's more like my brother. We grew up together in the same household. Right. But dude, I mean, and that honestly, I think Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth definitely is in there. Those are the first two games that I kind of really got interested in creating with. You know, I mean, not that it was the first game that it was implemented in, but it was really the first time that it had piqued my interest. And then this is going to be a very unpopular decision.
Uh-oh.
And the gameplay is horrible. It's not a good game, but the roster is why I love it. And it's Showdown Legends of Wrestling.
Okay.
It was an unlicensed game that had so many guys in it that you are not going to get in a game anywhere else. You got guys, someone who, like, when I trained to be a pro wrestler, I went to Killer Kowalski's school, and he was in that game. I thought that was amazing, you know, and you got 4 different looks for every guy. And, you know, even though they didn't have their WWE themes or WCW themes, they were close enough. And I like the aesthetic. I like the roster. I just wish the gameplay was as good as it was, but it was not.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. That's your 3?
Yeah, that's my 3.
All right,
and one last note. It wasn't even that the gameplay itself was horrible. It was the lag of being able to press the buttons and have it. So it's not like the mechanics itself was a bad idea. It was just executed very poorly. That's all.
That's true. I still have it. So I tried to play it. It is the control input is.
It's hard to enjoy.
It's like you gotta press it and hope that the computer responds.
Yeah.
Basically, like just don't stand there, you know.
Yeah.
Ken, what about you?
This is starting to remind me why my house was always so popular. So, SmackDown versus Raw 2007 was actually, oh my goodness, because the Creator Championship. So, when the homies was over, you had to defend your championship. All they had to do was walk up to you. It's like going to Wakanda. I challenge you to the throne. You out there, you got to defend that title. What was it? Shut Your Mouth? That was on the PS2, wasn't it? Yeah. That one. I think that one was the first one I played on the PS2. But
how are you? What? How? What?
Shut up, man.
Cause just bring it. How do you?
I know that. Listen, Look, I've already been through this with both of you. All right.
This is so random.
My people
He's late
never
to the
bought
party.
me
It's
stuff.
all good.
My people never bought me stuff like in order.
Okay. I don't understand it, but it's fine.
It sounds like it was beyond his control, so we're gonna give him a pass.
No, we're not gonna give him a pass. He's from Baltimore.
You know that one over there isn't gonna give me a pass on nothing.
Hell no. How do you like the first PlayStation 2 game I played was one that came out 2 years after? Like what? Like
Yeah, and then I found Just Bring It in like it was in like a bargain bin. That's how long it had been out. And it was like $5, and I had it on me. I was like, "Hey, maybe I should try this one." And I was like, "This looks worse than that one. That probably came out first."
Yeah.
You probably played Thunder before you played Nitro, huh?
Hey, to be fair,
No.
I did the exact same thing that he did with all the Tomb Raiders. I played Tomb Raider on like PS1, and then all the ones that came out on PS2, I ended up playing backwards. I don't know why. It's because I played one game and I was like, "Oh, this is really good. I should go back and play the other ones," but they weren't as good as the most recent game. But still, I ended up doing that.
That's wild. That's bugged out. Well, question, and for me, I'm gonna sit there and say I only played one, so I can't really feel like I could put anything on this list, even though I know of others. Anybody want to say anything about Dreamcast?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
So we're not gonna talk about Royal Rumble.
Why you even gonna say it?
It's a horrible game.
Didn't even deserve that. But okay.
I mean, they had 12 people in it, and they were talking about 30 people in, like 8 people in the ring. What?
Yeah, and you can have a Royal Rumble, and one guy could be in the ring twice at the same time.
No, 4 times.
Yeah.
Like,
All
why?
right, we're giving it too much spotlight. We're giving it too
All
much
right,
spotlight. Let's
stop.
get out of here.
Shout outs to Giant Graham 2000. That was a Japanese exclusive wrestling game for the Dreamcast. That one's probably way better. No, it is way better. I'm just gonna put it out there. It was. All right, so we're skipping that. What console should we go to next?
You thinking?
Well, here's
Xbox?
where it probably gets tricky because Mr.
It depends on what team you jump to.
He
Yeah.
jumped ship over there.
I had the original Xbox and Xbox 360, so I played games on both of those.
Oh, okay.
Some of my
Okay.
fondest wrestling game memories are on the 360. Dre, you know that.
Yeah. Let's do Xbox. I mean, Xbox.
Quick shout out to
that has some
Dave
hard misses
Racing
too.
on the GameCube.
I'm not talking about the GameCube. We're not even going.
I said quick shout out, so just be Ken Washington.
Okay, we'll do Day of Reckoning.
Hey, I had some love for Day of Reckoning, and
I just gave a quick shout out. We didn't have to go back to it. That was.
I'm just
that was a
saying,
hey,
Ken
shout out to
I
Washington
mean,
exclusive.
there's one thing in WrestleMania 19 that you got to acknowledge, and it's one of the first games that Hogan ever ripped his shirt off, and it came off in the game. That, to me, that blew my mind, and that was on the GameCube. So shout out to WrestleMania 19 for the Hogan shirt rip. That was dope.
Does he say the
Redacted
N-word
shirt
while he
rip.
does it?
No, I believe that was DLC.
Okay, so yeah, so we let's go to Xbox. I would say Raw 1 was trash. Raw 1 was really, really bad. So I don't even want to say I played that, even though I have it.
You know what I liked about that game, though? That was one of the first games that implemented fog in the arena.
But it was too foggy. It was
But it was a cool idea that I think they built upon. But I agree, the game was trash. But there was the lighting and the stuff was pretty cool.
The ambiance of the game definitely was really good. I feel like when they made like the characters, it was like they were split in half, and it was like copy one side to the. I'm so serious, wasn't it? Am I?
No, you know
they were very stiff and clay-like. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just seems like they made one side of the wrestler, like when you're doing face textures, and just copied it over to the other, split it straight down, and that's how
you
you
hit the
make
mirror image and kept it pushing.
I would say Raw 2, because Raw 2 creative entrance for that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You could choose the lighting, the camera angles, pyro everywhere. You could choose so much pyro you can crash the game. Custom music.
Yep.
Like that's when it
And how I missed that in games.
Like,
And you could edit the in-game wrestlers' attires. You could change them. And that was one of the first games on a newer generation. I know you could do that back on the N64, but for a newer game, that was like taken away from us, that ability getting it back. And they had multiple attires in that creation suite for you to choose from.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That game was a little bit ahead of its time for that.
Definitely was. But for the Xbox, I think it was that one, and really that's it for me. I didn't have 3 other ones.
I wanted to like WrestleMania 21 so bad. I wanted to like it, but it was another case of the showdown where the input in the button pressing was just, it ruined the gameplay experience.
Mm-hmm.
It ruined it because you couldn't compete against a computer when your inputs aren't, showing up on screen in time.
True. Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Ken?
It was raw too. I gave up the other ones. Like legitimately, I just gave them away because I was like, man, I wasted money on these. I couldn't play them. Raw 1, like you said, that was the epitome of garbage.
Yeah, I actually have another one. Def Jam Vendetta.
I played that on PS2.
Oh yeah, I think that was a PS2 for me as well.
Yeah, so
I enjoyed those games. I enjoyed that a lot.
Here's the funny thing: I played that one on the Xbox, and I played Fight for New York on the PlayStation 2. So,
yeah,
but I couldn't use that for PlayStation 2. I
like both of those games. Honestly, I thought they were good.
Yeah, I mean, Vendetta was supposed to be Mayhem too.
Yeah.
So
And I think the ones that after it was Vendetta was first, right? And then Fight for New York was second. And then the ones that came after that, I thought were garbage. They were
Icon was so bad.
Yeah.
They turned a wrestling game into a fighting game. And like, no.
I worked at GameStop and got to try Icon, and I canceled my pre-order. I was like, this is cheeks. I can't do this at all. Disrespecting the Def Jam name on that one.
Like, yeah, they decided to take the game into a different direction, and look what happened.
Yeah.
So we're gonna jump to the 360 because at this time when the 360 came out, it was with the PlayStation 3, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the only reason why I bought an Xbox 360 was because it was cheaper than the PlayStation 3 by $100, I think. And I remember I was working at Dunkin' Donuts at the time. I was 19, maybe 19 years old. And I told my manager, because I didn't even have a car at the time. I told my manager, yo, after we clock out, can you drive me to the mall so I could buy a 360? I'm not even playing. He was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. He like, you playing. You ain't about to buy no 360. Because he thought like, when I was at Dunkin' Donuts, I was making so much money in tips. Like I was making $100 extra just in tips. So 3.5 weeks, I had enough money saved up off of tips.
Yeah. Just
to buy a 360. So he thought it was a joke. I literally went there and he was laughing the whole time, like, yo, you really bought a 360? I was like, yes, I did. And I had Crackdown, which was trash. No.
Oh,
hey.
Okay, we're not going to talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about the wrestling games that we played on 360. So 2007 was a good one because it introduced me to the next generation of wrestling games. It looked great. But I'm not gonna have it on my list. I would have to say, and once again, this is me trying to cut it up to where I'm playing with different rosters. We could talk about WWE games all day. I would have to say, and it's a crappy game, TNA Impact. I would have to put it on there just because you get to play with AJ Styles. You got to play with Samoa Joe. You got Christopher Daniels. You know what I'm saying? It was a bare bones wrestling game, but it was fun if you didn't mind playing the bare bones. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like, for me, it's like, okay, I'm going to buy this game so they can make money to possibly start making another one. You know what I'm saying? So I was happy.
To be fair, it actually, visually, it didn't play the greatest, but it looked.
It looked
amazing.
Better than any other wrestling game on the 360.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
it looked better than.
I mean, dude, when you look at the Booker T model from Impact and compared it to the one from I don't know what game it was, but he looked like a pale horse in the WWE one, and in the Impact one, it just looked so clean, man. Like the textures on on their models were really good.
Amazing. WWE 13. That was my baby right there. That the Attitude Era.
Yep.
And they had like CM Punk on the cover. Like it was just, and we could use custom themes.
Yeah.
I think 13 will be on all of our lists.
Yeah. And then 360. Think. I don't want to go with another WWE game. This game is so bad. I really don't want to say it. It's really bad. No, I'm changing my mind. SVR 11. Because it introduced, SVR 10. It introduced community creations. It introduced community creations.
That's huge. Yeah.
Cool. That was a big game.
That's a game changer.
Yep. And it also had universe mode where you can like click the right stick in and it will turn universe mode on or off. So even the exhibition matches mattered.
Right.
And that was something that they eventually took out.
Yeah.
Which was honestly, to be honest, I felt like was a great feature. Because you can go through a season just by playing exhibition matches.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the game could be like, oh, well, here's a championship match to play. Oh, random. Okay, let's run with it. You know? Oh, also another great feature that they had in that game was when you incorporated them with a organization, it showed up behind them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That was another thing that I remember, and that was a real tough feature that I enjoyed about that game. So that's my 3 for the 360. Who's up next?
Okay, so AAA Lucha Libre. Hey, look, I played that entirely too much.
You were good at it?
Yeah.
Huh.
And there weren't, like we've said in other pods, it wasn't a lot of lucha games out there.
No,
right.
So
that's true.
That one for me just kind of holds a special place in this black heart of mine. WWE 13, that way too much playtime. I think I pushed all other games aside for like 2 months playing that one.
That was the go-to.
I was just stuck on that game. Every time I booted up, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm playing tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd look at other games, but they'd never make it to the system. And then probably for me, it would be Impact, because, man, I was trying my hardest to sell that game. I was still at GameStop, and I feel like people going to think that I don't, like, me and WWE, we've had a love-hate relationship for a very long time. But yeah, I always enjoyed, for the most part, other brands, because once WWE bought or tried to buy everybody, that was the only game. So, the yearly installments, you pretty much knew what you were going to get. So playing other ones like AAA and TNA Impact, they hold special places to me. So Impact would definitely make that top 3 list, because that was another one. I just wish they had done more with the entrances. I might could have lived with it a little longer if it was full entrances instead of like, I'm on the stage and then I'm in the ring.
That's understandable. That's understandable. So Sean, what you got?
My top one's gonna be WWE 13 for sure.
Okay.
That time period in wrestling was like in the height of my teens. I loved everything about that time in wrestling, and the fact that it was able to, like, I could relive that on like a game that I loved was awesome. I think the same can be said. I think my second one's probably going to be 2K14, because I loved going back and playing all those WrestleMania moments, and I love the fact that it wasn't just up to WrestleMania 14. It was up to the current WrestleMania at that time.
You want to hear something crazy? Hold on, I gotta interrupt you real quick.
No, go ahead.
Do you remember that we did a project of the 30 years of WrestleMania?
Yes.
I still
do.
have that saved.
Yep.
On my 360.
Oh yeah, we made LT, we made Bam Bam, we made a ton of guys, and that was probably, I would say, 13 and 14 were when I started really getting into being an independent creator instead of just downloading other people's creations and editing them to my liking.
Yeah.
Is when I really started, probably first starting with a call from scratch and going from there. And you were a big part of helping me with that. We were always in parties. I was always trying to like, Dre, how do you do this on Paint Tool? Dre, how do you do this? And you're like, oh, well, you got to make a grid. Then you got to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I learned a lot from those parties, man. And I think those two games were where I really started to kind of branch out on my own. Let's see, third game, it's going to be an unpopular decision again, but I loved WWE All-Stars, man. I had fun with that. It was an arcade game that took it, over the top, and you could juggle guys up in the air. Man, I used to remember playing my buddy Whack. You remember him, Whackhouse? Yeah. And man, he would get me in the corner with Andre and then start juggling me, and I would get so pissed. But he was the only one I could get to play that game with me. But I enjoyed
reasons for that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, but definitely. So 13, 14, and All Stars were probably three of my faves.
Okay. So now we're getting into current gen, which is going to be
technically last gen.
Technically,
for some,
don't look at me like
here's why I say current gen. It's because there's no next gen wrestling game yet.
Okay.
It's a technicality, but I feel like we can run with it.
No, you just don't want to give them they burn because you ain't got one. You had to build.
I mean, to be fair, anything that's out on either the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4 can be played on a new generation console. So.
True. Okay. All right. So, for me, I'll have to say, because I've been stuck with this game for the last 3.5 years, I'm gonna have to say WWE 2K19 out the gate. I would have to say, damn, on the Xbox One it's really difficult. It has to be. Okay, I'll say this. I'll have to take pieces from wrestling games as opposed to saying the full game. 2K19 in general, because it works, it's not broken. I would so much.
Pulled a Mr. Miyagi. Holy crap! Did you see that?
What?
Ken, he was like, "What?"
Who?
This that
thing was flying in my face. I had to get him.
All right. I would have to say if the controls were the same, 20 would be a okay game. And I would say the reason why I only say that is because the amount of additional creation parts that they have in it. Mm-hmm. The originality of the DLC, even though it's broken to all hell, and they could have did a little bit better. Like, like even the Bump in the Night. They didn't have any music playing in the background. They could have had like some creepy music playing while you're resting. It's just dead silence when you're playing. It's ridiculous. I like that feature from 20. Damn. Xbox One. 15 was garbage. 16 was
17 was an abomination.
Yeah. 17 was okay. I guess it would have to be 18, 19, and 20.
Yeah.
And I don't even play 20. I just like certain aspects of it that I wish was in a different wrestling game.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's me. I mean, I know. What you guys think?
I would say out the gate, just like you, 2K19. It's the most complete version of a 2K game that we've got that works. It's pushed me to grow and learn more as a creator than I have on any other console. And it's where it needs to be at graphically and gameplay wise. I think, like you, I'm probably going to nitpick some pieces of some other ones. I enjoyed the career showcase of Stone Cold on the 2K16.
Okay.
I'm built on nostalgia. I love that stuff. I'll buy it all day long. I did like some of the showcases on 2K15, even though the game was crap. And then I would say probably 18. So 19, parts of 15 and 16, and 18 for me, what I'm going to go with.
Huh? That's understandable.
Were those the only games that came out on the Xbox One? Was all just WWE games? Aside from like action arcade wrestling?
Yeah.
It's been a WWE dominated generation for this. I mean, really, but we're about to blow that lid right off with what's coming.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly anymore. They're going to have to step their game up, and they're going to get left in the dust.
True. That's very
Damn
true.
shame. I turned on my whole Xbox just to see. Yeah, no, they just.
Yeah, it's just WWE.
What do you think? I mean, indie wrestling just started booming again, and AEW was it's a baby in the last 3 years, you know. So, but at generation,
they just did a 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, so wrestling goes in cycles like that. It's like every 10 years it starts to boom again, and right now we're about to explode. It's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Ken?
So, 19, of course, because been stuck with it forever, and having to deal with one Dre for the last 3 years has helped me out. I'll be nice. I won't sell him, not yet. Actually, no. You started that mess with 18, with name redacted.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I know. So 18 and 19 for me. I played 16, 17, but I never did. I've never been huge on doing the showcases.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would do them, but it was like I never was a big on them. So I think my third one is one that I've actually played a lot, and that's probably action arcade wrestling. I can't create on it for crap, but
Me neither.
I can't get sizing right to save my soul. But I have enjoyed just playing it in general, and that's weird for me because I normally don't do the arcade games, but for some reason, you know, I don't understand why playing as a Pepsi machine is so damn funny, but it is. So
that is that the game that was originally the Chikara game? They got relabeled. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I've seen that. It looks like it has potential to be fun. I was expecting Dre to at least include Fire Pro, but I didn't know. Maybe you don't play that. You not play it a lot?
Fire Pro's not on the Xbox.
It's not?
It's PC.
It's PC and PS4. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's cool. I mean, we could do special shout outs, you know.
I got a special. Dude, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. I got to shout out my boy Carl, Tyrant185. Man has been helping me step my game up with my creations for the past 10 years, and this year on 19, I think we put out our best work yet. And just shout out to Carl for always pushing me to do better and not let me skate on some bullshit.
I hear that. For me, a game that I want to give a special shout out to is WWF In Your House, PlayStation.
Oh yes.
And I'm going to say that there was a glitch. Oh, wait a minute. Is it In Your House? Who's in your house? Okay. So there was a glitch in the game where whenever your combo meter got up, and it was the computer, you know, they can possibly kick out again when you try to pin them. There was a glitch where they wouldn't kick out, but you can keep stomping them. So literally it would say pin them, and you're just stomping the hell out of your opponent. And me and my boy found this glitch out, and we would do it just to laugh. Like, the two people who had the best stomps in the game is Undertaker and Goldust. They had the most amazing stomps. I don't know, it's weird.
They were real aggressive. Like
yes.
They would just, yes. Like,
Undertaker stomps were very aggressive, so was Goldust.
Yeah.
So we would just pick them and just beat the hell out of the computer. Also, shout outs to WrestleMania, the arcade game with Razor Ramon. Me and my boy would always do the 21 hit combo with Razor Ramon on the computer doing the tag team. We would always do that. It was so terrible how we would just do the computer so filthy. Once we learned how to do Razor remotes combo, literally that's the only person we picked was Razor. Oh man, those two games right there was fun to have.
I guess my special shout out will go to Fire Pro on the PC, because that I hadn't played.
But do you play it?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't played it. I sim everything.
You haven't played a match yet?
I played the promotion, the Fire Promoter, and I sim everything. I haven't played the game. I have not.
You gotta play it. The controls are, I don't know how to describe them. Yeah, it's a learning curve. It's definitely a learning curve to actually play them.
It's time based, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like a timing thing. That you have to be just right, or you taking that beat.
Does that mean like you know how reversals in 2K games are timed? Does that mean every single move in that game is like that?
It's horrible.
That sounds very frustrating.
The reversals aren't so much timed, but as far as like grapples, that's definitely timed. And
so
I
you
don't
gotta
even know how the pin
Gotcha.
system works. I know you pin somebody and then I just start button mashing until I kick out. But yeah, as far as like regular moves, all of that is timed. It can be frustrating depending on who you're fighting. If you're fighting a Kenny Omega or a Tanahashi or somebody like that, you just wasting your time because your timing in there, they're like the boss characters. You don't get past them.
You gotta play that game on easy.
Say what?
You gotta play that game on easy.
Nah, because then you get your revenge. Then you get your revenge vibes where everybody want to come down and see the match up close firsthand.
I'm cool. Like, I know for me, like, I mean, I would say a special shout out to that game because, I mean, I enjoy it. It's different. It's literally just an open game. Like, you can do whatever. Like, they got R. Anderson pulling out a gun and pulling some Devil May Cry stuff where he flips in the air and shoots his opponent. Like, you could chop people's heads off in the game, stab with a fork, blow fire in their face. You can do whatever you want in that game. And honestly,
they got the Dragon Ball Z stuff where, you know, Goku and Vegeta having a whole fight and you ain't seen nothing. I maybe that's it. I love the customization of everything.
And they got good DLC. They got really good DLC. I can't even lie. But let's talk about, you know, and we don't have, because we spoke about this before in an earlier podcast, but we spoke about games that we've played in the past and current. Let's talk about the future of wrestling games. What are you guys most excited for in regards to what's going to be coming out within the next year, 2 years?
Because of how 20 never actually worked on my console, I am really reserving myself as far as WWE. Like, I will probably get this one because I didn't actually buy 20. It was a game share deal, but it just would not work on my console. I think I got it to load on my backup profile once. I started to create Justice, and it ain't worked since. It has not worked since. So I was like, all right. The one I am most excited for, and I've said this many, many times, is the wrestling code. It's just independent wrestling is, especially here in North Carolina, independent wrestling is a huge thing. So I'm driving all over North Carolina going to these shows. That's how I met Darius Lockhart, the Infinite Tim, as he goes by now, back when he was with the Gymnasty Boys, him and White Mike. Yeah, so the independent scene and the people I've got to meet and watching them grow and knowing that they're going to, well, at least White Mike and Tim going to be in the wrestling code. It's just, I don't know why, that independent stuff, non-licensed, I love those type of games. I am intrigued by the AEW game. I'm hoping that it's not going to be a 2K ripoff.
See,
and I'd only say that just because I don't know. Like I know what they want to give us on the first go, but I don't think it's all possible on the first go.
Okay.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe that's why they haven't even given like a hint of a release date, is because they actually want to get to everything that they want. But that's just, I think that's something also for me to kind of curve myself. So if I get it and it's not good, I can be like, okay, well, I didn't go in here with my expectations, like my hat just on the top, ready to roll. So that's where I stand with the ones I'm most interested in.
Okay. What about you, Sean?
I would say probably the Wrestling Code and AEW, probably around the same height. Maybe the Wrestling Code a little bit more, just because of some of the talent we're getting in there. I think it's really cool. A lot of the guys that I know from my time on the indies have gotten a spot on that game, which is really cool, because there is so many talented wrestlers out there on the independent scene that just never ever are going to see the light of day, and it's a sin. And the fact that this game is going to be able to showcase them and put a spotlight on them to where they might get a little bit more notoriety or spotlight put on them, I think it's long overdue for guys like that. Because if you're not the cookie cutter talent that WWE is looking for, or willing to be molded into whatever shape they want to put you in, then you're not considered a success. But I think that ideology is going out the window now, and I think it's becoming more possible to be a successful independent wrestler and make money outside WWE than it's ever been before. And I think that game is really putting a light and showcasing talent that deserves it, that might not have got it before.
Random, but I kind of, and maybe this is me homeboying a little bit, but I kind of blame AEW for that. The way they use people on Dark and Elevation, like seeing Darius wrestle on Dark against Starks. I don't know. For me, that was kind of like a big deal, because you hadn't seen him on a main stage like that. So, independent wrestling, like I said, is huge to me. So, Wrestling Code has definitely got my eyeballs.
I would say for me, and this is not just because I'm working with them, I would have to say the Wrestling Code too. Just like how you talk about seeing Darius on AEW television, it's the same for me when I see Anthony Green in the ring. You know what I'm saying, with Sting and
that dude used to referee my matches, bro.
Dog,
he used to referee my matches.
Listen, I drove him around Jersey when we was doing mocap.
He's a good kid, man. Yeah. He's a really good kid. Got a good head on his shoulders.
Super cool. Like, I'm sitting there drinking tea over Crowbar's house 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's throwing working punches at me. I'm serious.
Put your pinky down.
It was a picture. Crowbar took it. He took a picture of me sipping tea. So, yeah, like.
Oh, no.
So, like, seeing Anthony Green, like, seeing these wrestlers who, like, and it's like the roster is so diverse.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally, and I said this before, the most diverse roster in any wrestling game, point blank, period. It is super diverse. AEW is going to be right up there with them as far as the diversity go. And that's not taken away from WWE games, because WWE have definitely a talent pool of diverse wrestlers. It's just we see the same ones all the time.
I know. I was just going to say, they have that pool, but do they choose to go deeper in the bag and pull out some of those new tricks? They don't. It's a reserve that never gets used. It's like saving money and never spending it.
Exactly. And it's like, I know for me, it's for the Wrestling Code, because I know, so much more of like what's to come and what they're doing to make sure, that the game is as good as it can be. Like, just what they're doing, they're going the extra mile. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a developer purchased a wrestling ring to make sure that they get as many moves as possible in the game. Like, AAA, WWE games, you know what I'm saying? They got a studio. But this is something that they had for years. This is the wrestling company out the gate, not going to animators. They're saying we're going to mocap everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's dedication. because they could easily outsource it and say, hey, just do a bunch of animations, send them back, boom, boom, boom. But they're taking it into their own hands, you know what I'm saying, and learning as they go. So yeah, I definitely have to say the Wrestling Code #1. And mainly because also because I have a hand in it, I know the in-game characters are going to be on par. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not trying to copy off of WWE, because I know that's going to be like the measuring stick for everybody, which I don't think they should do. I wasn't even mad when they first showed off the AEW game. Honestly, it could be different. Why not? Who cares? Gameplay. But you know, for me, it's like, I know that they're invested and I know that they're serious about it. So that AEW, because it's something different, it's a different roster.
Shout out Owen Hart.
Oh yeah, Owen Hart's probably.
That's huge, man. That's freaking huge. The last game he was in Showdown's Legends Wrestling, I think.
Yes.
So I mean,
has he ever been in? He hasn't been in any WWE game.
No, they're not allowed to use his likeness.
His last one was Attitude.
Yeah. They're not. I think it's so important that his legacy get remembered and that it doesn't go on. Like, he deserves accolades and to be talked about, and he deserves to be in the discussion. And I'm glad that AEW is a platform that's going to be able to happen in, because, you know, his contributions to wrestling and influences on today's talent are unmeasurable. And I think the fact that he's going to be able to be showcased again and his career remembered is huge.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And I trust in Ukes. I trust in their abilities. I trust, like, as far as wrestling game developers go, they are the #1 developers, point blank. No one's, and there's not even a close second, to be completely honest. And you know what I'm saying? Because they've been doing it since the early 90s. Oh, speaking of that, there was supposed to be a wrestling game, an obscure wrestling game that I wanted to talk about real quick. If anybody can find it. Oh my goodness. The Pro Wrestler. It's called The Pro Wrestler. It's a PlayStation 1 game. It's based off of the WWF SmackDown game, the first one. But it's the Japanese version with generic wrestlers in it. They have a concrete match. They have a brimstone match where you really set your opponent on fire. They got barbed wire matching it. I want to find it. I need to find it. I'm going to find that game. I'm going to find it. But yeah, that's just about it for this episode. We spoke about the wrestling games we played in the past. We spoke about, you know, games that are top 3 for each console we played on. And we also talked about what we're looking forward to as far as wrestling games go. Let us know in the comment section, you know, what's your favorite wrestling game for each console and what you're looking forward to.
Hey, you know one that we missed?
What?
I don't think any of us have played it, though.
What's that?
Retromania.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't played it. But that's kind of like the revamp of the WrestleFest, right? Kind of same idea.
They just updated it. I might poly with them. I might just have to cop that. Just
shout out to Wrestling Empire on my Switch, because
yes, that one too. I got to get that on PC. Damn.
Oh yeah, it is on PC too, ain't it?
They got the mods for that. I might have to mess with them. Oh damn. Well, we've been on this podcast long enough. Thank you guys for watching. As for the homie Ken Washington, that's his work name, and Sean Styles, that's his work name as well. This is Dre41. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. You already have our links. Follow us on Twitter. Tell Ken Washington the Baltimore Orioles are trash. Let Sean Styles know that the Patriots are trash too.
I couldn't care less.
Everybody, ain't
Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Later guys.